amazing to me that we are even having this discussion. If you think over the last year and a half and the economic recession that the country is experiencing, a lot of communities are enviable that we're even in here today having this discussion. A lot of communities are experiencing flat growth if they're lucky. A lot of communities are experiencing negative growth. And so we may look at this decision that we have before us as a problem in some way, but frankly, I look at it as an opportunity. We continue to grow as a community, and we are poised to make informed decisions about how to best meet our energy needs for the future. And so I think it's best for us to look at this as an opportunity. If I may, I'd like to reference an article that was in the paper yesterday. The report in the business section states San Antonio still among top cities. And let me just read a little quote from this article. San Antonio's economy continued to be one of the nation's strongest through the second quarter of 2009, with top 10 performances in employment, unemployment rates, home prices, and productive output, according to the Brookings Institute. Let me ask you all, do you think this is by accident? Do you think it's by accident that we are in the position where we are with respect to this recession? Do you think it's by accident that we have been able to weather not only this downturn in the economy, but previous downturns? I will suggest to you that it's because we have the fundamentals here in San Antonio, and I would like to think that the contribution that my organization brings to this community has a lot to do with that. Let me now say that over the last several months, CPS Energy has had some fairly significant announcements that I would say have been somewhat overshadowed by this nuclear debate. You know, it seems like every time we have a public function and we talk about nuclear, it kind of sucks all the air out of the room. We have made 3 major announcements about solar energy in the last 3 months that, in my mind, make us undoubtedly the #1 utility in Texas when it comes to our commitment not only to solar energy, but to renewable energy. And I won't cover those individual announcements today, but I think those announcements further endorse our commitment not only to solar, but to renewable energy. And why am I talking about that today when the topic obviously is about nuclear? The point I want to make is that even though we're spending a lot of time talking about nuclear energy, we are today implementing a strategic energy plan that allows us to call on a variety of options to meet our energy needs in the future. You've heard this terminology before. There's no silver bullet. And we have learned from a long history that relying entirely on one energy source can put you in harm's way real quickly. For those of you who are as old as I am, all you have to do is remember Oscar Wilde. So there is no silver bullet, but there is silver buckshot. And our approach is we need to call on all the energy sources we can to meet the growing needs of this community. If we're going to continue to have the fundamentals that are going to be vital for the success of this community, to create jobs, to create a livable environment for our working class families, we need to continue to have those fundamentals. There are several other aspects of our strategic energy plan that I would like to speak to today. And frankly, as we go around the community and we have these discussions about nuclear energy, all of the elements of our strategic energy plan are mentioned. We continue to hear, why can't you do more renewables? That's in our plan. We're #1 in solar, we're #1 in wind among the municipally owned utilities in the country. The question is, why can't we do more energy efficiency? That's in our plan. We have a very aggressive plan to save 771 megawatts by 2020. There's a lot of questions about our commitment to the environment. You all know that we're bringing a coal plant online by next year. And when we made our decision to go forward with that coal plant, we made a commitment to the community that when we bring that plant online, the overall emissions, the regulated emissions in this community would be lower, even with the plant, than they were in 1997. How are we doing that? We're spending almost $1 billion to put scrubbers and what I would like to call catalytic converters on our existing fleet to continue to reduce the emissions in this community. That's in our plan. But even with our aggressive commitments to solar, to wind, to energy efficiency, the thrust of this conversation is we still need some type of baseload energy. So we're going to rely on the renewables. We absolutely have to have the renewable energy 24/7, 365 days out of the year. And it's this diversity that we're planning for the future that has worked so successfully for us in the past. Since the 70s and since we had the big issue with Oscar Wyatt, we have been on a mission to diversify our fuel mix, and that diversity has allowed us to have the lowest rates in the country today, which has allowed us to be a catalyst for economic development, and it has allowed us to have reasonable bills to assist working class families in meeting their budgets. So what I wanted to leave with you today is, even though this is a discussion about nuclear, we are implementing a strategic energy plan that has a lot of the elements that are going to be necessary for us to transition away over the long term from fossil fuels and move closer to a sustainable world that we all believe is going to be what's right for our community and for our children and our grandchildren.